This video is sponsored by Morning Brew. Hi everyone, Thao here. It's that time of year again. We've got brand new flagship Galaxy smartphones. The Galaxy S22, S22 Plus, and the S22 Ultra have now been officially announced by Samsung. The biggest takeaway from this launch is that Samsung is essentially turning its high-end S22 model into a brand new Note device. It has the S branding, but make no mistake, this looks and feels every bit like a Galaxy Note phone. It has the Note's most defining feature, an integrated S Pen. I know, I can already hear all you Galaxy Note fans cheering already. Sure, the S21 Ultra from last year had S Pen support too, but carrying around with you separately isn't as elegant as being able to stow it right inside the actual phone. They even improved the S Pen's latency down to 2.8 milliseconds, so it should feel even more responsive when you're jotting down notes or sketches. The S22 and S22 Plus have similar designs to last year's devices, with camera bumps that sort of melt into the top left corner. The entire phone has a blockier shape with thicker side rails, which I found easier to handle. The green colorway caught my eye right away, and the pink is very subtle, almost like a nude in certain lighting. Super pretty. Absolutely no plastic backing this time around. Every single model is using glass. Now, the S22 Ultra, like I mentioned, looks nothing like last year. Its biggest design feature is that there's no camera housing, so you end up with a bunch of floating cameras. I was a big fan of the S21 Ultra's design from last year, and I think a similar design would look really nice here. But I can also see the benefits of a flatter backside, especially for a device that's built to use with a stylus. The front and back of all three are protected by Gorilla Glass Victus Plus with an armor aluminum frame, which is supposed to be 30% less prone to scratches. Hey, real quick, today's video is brought to you by Morning Brew. So I think a lot of us are experiencing social media fatigue, especially when we're all stuck at home right now. I know I'm definitely feeling that way. So I'm pretty happy to have found something to replace my habit of mindlessly scrolling through Instagram when I first get up. Morning Brew is a free daily newsletter delivered Monday to Sunday to your inbox that gets you up to speed on business, finance, and tech in just 5 minutes. I love being able to read interesting and informative articles to kickstart my day, like this one for example. Who knew? Unlike traditional news, which can be super dry and boring, Morning Brew articles are fresh, relevant, and witty. There's no reason not to subscribe to Morning Brew. It's completely free and takes less than 15 seconds to sign up. Click the link in the description to subscribe to Morning Brew today. The two smaller models will have 8 gigs of RAM paired with either 128 or 256 gigabytes of storage. The Ultra will also start at 8 gigs of RAM for the base model, but the higher storage options will come with 12. Although 8 gigs of RAM should be plenty for most people, last year's base model had 12. And it was probably overkill, but last year's highest storage option has 16 gigs of RAM. Unfortunately, none of these phones offer expandable storage. It looks like that's a feature that's not coming back. Anyways, I'll throw official pricing for all the different models in the description. The S22 and S22 Plus feature completely flat AMOLED displays with 1080p resolutions coming in at 6.1 and 6.6 inches. The Ultra has a 6.8-inch AMOLED display with that boxier Note design, curved edges on either side, and a sharper 1440p resolution. All three have adaptive 120Hz refresh rates that are a slight improvement over last year. The S22 and S22 Plus can now drop down to 10 Hz instead of just 48, while the Ultra can go all the way down to a single Hz. So technically, we're looking at more efficient displays all around. What's impressive is that Samsung managed to increase the max brightness across the board, up to 1300 nits on the S22 and S22 Plus, and 1750 nits on the Ultra. The bottom line, these are bright. Last year's S21 Ultra topped out at 1500 nits, which was already plenty bright. They've added something called Vision Booster, which basically ensures that high brightness levels don't distort color or image quality. Of course, we'd all like battery improvements year after year, But yeah, in a strange twist, Samsung fitted the S22 and S22 Plus with slightly smaller batteries than last year. Both received a 300 milliamp hour haircut in capacity. So we'll have to wait for some real world testing to see how well these batteries perform. The Ultra does come with the same 5000 milliamp hour battery as last year's S21 Ultra, but it's actually a bump up from the Note 20 Ultra, which is impressive considering they also had to leave room for the S Pen. Charging speeds for the S22 Plus and Ultra got bumped up to 45 watts, while the base S22 sticks with 25 watt charging. Quoted 0 to 100 charge times aren't all that different across all three devices though, with the smallest S22 supposedly taking about 10 minutes longer to top off. The camera setups on the S22 and S22 Plus are pretty much identical. Both feature revamped triple camera setups, a 50 megapixel main lens, a 12 megapixel ultra wide, and a 10 megapixel telephoto capable of 3 times optical zoom and up to 30 times digital zoom. There's also a 10 megapixel punch hole selfie camera. That new 50 megapixel main lens should hopefully mean improved pictures and videos over last year. The Ultra, of course, separates itself with a quad camera setup on the back. A 108 megapixel main lens, a 12 megapixel ultra wide, and dual 10 megapixel telephotos, one offering 3 times optical zoom and one offering 10 times optical zoom. The Ultra can also do up to 100 times digital zoom. On the front, you'll get a 40 megapixel punch hole selfie camera. If you own the S21 Ultra, those specs probably sound familiar because it's essentially the same camera setup. A lot of the camera improvements this year seem to be on the software front. Things like improved video stabilization, better low light performance, more precise portrait mode cutouts, and a few other things I'll have to test out more thoroughly. All three phones will be powered by the newest Snapdragon chip running Android 12 with One UI 4.1. Of course, you get all the standard flagship features. And because I know someone will ask, no, none of these phones have a headphone jack. Samsung also announced 3 brand new flagship tablets, the Tab S8, Tab S8 Plus, and the most interesting one, the Tab S8 Ultra. They're really going all in with that Ultra branding, aren't they? These have the same processor as the new phone lineup and will continue to have micro SD card support. The Ultra has a massive 14.6-inch display, an 11,200 milliamp hour battery, and a notch. Yep, there's a notch on here. Only the Ultra has a notch though. They trimmed down the bezels and included dual 12 megapixel front-facing cameras, including an ultra wide. This is really being marketed towards those who want a massive screen and spend a lot of time on video conference calls. Galaxy Tabs are known for their nice screens, multitasking capabilities, and of course, DeX mode. The biggest knock on them is usually the app support. But looks like there's help on the way as LumaFusion, the very popular iPad video editing app, is making its way to Android sometime in the first half of 2022. But yeah, that's a quick rundown of all 3 devices. The S22 Ultra is definitely the star of the show and should make a lot of Note fans really happy. But it also means that those looking for the ultimate top-of-the-line Galaxy S experience who don't care about an S Pen might have to opt for last year's S21 Ultra since the S22 Ultra is essentially a Note now. Anyways, you can definitely expect a review of the S22 Ultra from me in the next couple of weeks. Let me know if you want me to review the S22 or S22 Plus as well. As usual, thank you so much for watching. Until the next one, I'm out of here.